Ndamukong Suh's time with the Detroit Lions is a little bit polarizing. Some Lions fans will remember him for plays like this.
It all the way down there. And Ndamukong Suh, oh boy, he gets kicked. I thought he got
for this afternoon. There he is at the bottom of that pile. A takedown there. Yeah, there it is. I mean, first of all.
And then some Lions fans will remember him for these type of plays.
But once Romo started to move, I thought they actually might have been able to call Zach Martin on a hold, but Suh's just got him by the jersey, and there are not many guys in America that can make that play. I mean, Ndamukong Suh. Watch him hold off the offensive lineman with his left arm and then reach out and grab a 240-pound running back with his right arm. And look at, he's got both of them. There is no horse collar inside the pocket, so that's perfectly legal. That is physical, dominant strength by Ndamukong Suh.
As for what I will remember him for, I'll probably remember him for a little bit of both. Suh is a player that I don't know if the stats always showed his impact. The Lions' defense wasn't usually all that amazing even when Suh was on the Lions, with the exception being 2014, but he on his own was definitely a spectacular player. In this video, I will be talking about Suh's career production, some of his notable seasons, his impact on the Lions defense, and his contributions to the Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl. Ndamukong Suh is a one-time Super Bowl champion, a 5-time Pro Bowler, 4 of which were with the Lions, a 3-time first-team All-Pro, all of them were with the Lions. He was the Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2010, and he even made the All-Decade team for the 2010s. Ndamukong Suh in his career has amassed 563 combined tackles, 373 solo tackles, 190 assists on tackles, 123 tackles for loss, 64.5 sacks, an interception with 20 return yards, 5 forced fumbles, 8 fumble recoveries for 60 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then as far as his Lions production goes, he amassed 238 combined tackles, 179 solo tackles, 59 assists on tackles, 66 tackles for loss, which ranked first in the history of the Detroit Lions, 36 sacks, which ranked 7th in the history of the Lions. He also got an interception. He had 2 forced fumbles with the Lions and 1 fumble recovery with the Lions for 17 yards and a touchdown. On this slide, I have some notable defenses that Suh had an immediate impact on once he joined them. In 2009, the year before Suh joined the Lions had the worst scoring defense in the league, ranking 32nd in points allowed and points allowed per drive. The Lions' defense was still below average even after Suh joined the team in 2010, but he really helped with getting those rankings up. When Suh joins the Lions in 2010, the Lions' scoring defense jumped up to 19th and their points allowed per drive jumped up to 21st. Like I said, it was still below average, but the jump is sizable enough for it to be noteworthy. Other players the Lions added to improve the defense include Kyle Vanden Bosch, Corey Williams, and Chris Houston. Chris Houston is probably forgotten at this point, but he did have some solid seasons for the Lions. The instance that I felt showed Ndamukong Suh's impact the most is when he left the Lions for the Dolphins in 2015. The Lions ranked 3rd in points allowed and 4th in points allowed per drive with Suh anchoring the defense. Then he left and the defense went from being great to terrible pretty much overnight. The Lions dropped all the way down to 23rd in points allowed and 28th in points allowed per drive. The Lions did still manage to rank in the top 10 when it came to sacks, but that's pretty much all that defense had going for it. It's expected for a defense to take a step back when you lose your engine, but not like this. It's also worth noting that even though the Lions' 2015 defense didn't have Suh, the 2014 defense didn't have Stephen Tulloch for the majority of the season. So it almost feels that, if anything, this defense should have been improved with Tulloch coming back from a torn ACL. But rather than improving, the defense regressed. The last team I want to go over is when Suh joined the Buccaneers. The Bucs defense ranked 31st in points allowed, 29th in points allowed per drive, and only top 21 in sacks. I say top 21 because the Bucs were tied with multiple teams with how many sacks they had. Once Suh joins the Buccaneers, their scoring defense only improved to 29th, but their points allowed per drive jumped all the way up to 17th, and They jumped into the top 9 in sacks. Some other players that were added to the 2019 Bucks defense are Devin White and Shaq Barrett. One team I don't have on this slide is when Suh joins the Dolphins. The Dolphins defense didn't take a huge jump when Suh joins them, but they did improve, going from 23rd in points allowed per drive to 18th in points allowed per drive. The Dolphins' sack totals did see a bit of a decline, and the Dolphins' record did regress, going from 8-8 to 6-10. But again, Suh was definitely a player that could always make his presence felt, whether it showed up on the stat sheet or not. Now, in terms of some notable games and seasons from Ndamukong Suh during his time with Detroit, he had an outstanding rookie season, which earned him first-team All-Pro honors. His 10 sacks that season were the most sacks by a Lions rookie. His 66 combined tackles were second by a Lions rookie defensive lineman. His 49 solo tackles were second most by a Detroit Lions rookie defensive lineman, and his 13 tackles for loss were second. Also, during his time with Detroit, Suh had 4 different seasons where he had 5 or more sacks, which are top 7 in Lions history. His 3 seasons with 8 or more sacks are top 6. His 4 seasons with 9 or more tackles for loss are top 2. His 3 seasons with 13 or more tackles for loss are also top 2. His 4 seasons with 5 or more sacks and 9 or more tackles for loss are first in Lions history. And his 3 seasons with 8+ sacks and 10+ tackles for loss are top 2. Suh's 21 tackles for loss in 2014 are the most in Lions history. Now, of course, tackles for loss aren't exactly the oldest stat, so he may or may not be the actual leader, but during the time it's been tracked, he is the current leader for the Detroit Lions in that category. And then his 10 sacks in 2010 are top 17 in Lions history for a single season. Suh, during his time with the Lions, had 29 games with a sack, which ranks 7th in Lions history. He had 44 games with 1 or more tackles for loss, which are second. And then he had 28 games with a sack and a tackle for loss, which ranks second. So, as many of us know, Suh just won a Super Bowl. And in sports, there is no greater validation for a player like being able to say you were a key contributor to a team that won a championship. On this slide, I have what Suh's production looked like in the Buccaneers championship season. During the regular season, Suh had 44 combined tackles, which were top 11 on the Bucs, 9 tackles for loss, which were top 5 on the Bucs. His 6 sacks were 4th on the Buccaneers, and his 19 quarterback hits were 2nd. During the playoffs, Suh was 9th on his team with 10 combined tackles. He was one of 8 Buccaneers defensive players to have a tackle for loss. His 1.5 sacks were 3rd on the Buccaneers, and his 4 quarterback hits were top 3. So, I don't know about you guys, but if Suh ever had the desire to come back to the Lions, I would take him back in a heartbeat. There were definitely times where he was a little bit of a dirty player, but he was also a pretty dominant player. If you were an offensive lineman, you knew that Suh was on the other side. When talking about Suh on the top 100 players, Kyle Long said you can feel the difference between him and other guys. Gerald McCoy also said his numbers aren't always there, but his presence is never missed. So that will be all for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.